From making burgers to making beats, that's what Tampa producer Mikey Beasley did. Having accomplished so much so young, he says this was the best day.
It was the day I actually got to quit my day job. That was a scary moment. It's still to this day terrifying. I wake up every day and, you know, I'm not guaranteed a paycheck at the end of the week. Good morning! Finally over with the holidays. Can get back onto my normal schedule. Got some new beats in the works. New Year's Eve tonight. I don't think I'm really gonna do anything. I always say that and then I ended up meeting up with a few friends or some shit, but I'm just gonna try and work. Check out this dope beat that I've been working on. So in today's video, I wanted to talk about the most asked question I get on all my social media, and that's how I became a full-time beat maker, producer. The steps that I took, what I did. I'm just gonna start from day one and just kind of tell you guys exactly the steps that I took and let you know that it wasn't fucking easy whatsoever. I'm not gonna sit here and say that it's impossible. Most people know that I've been a full-time producer now for 5 years. I've been making beats for 10. Before I made beats, I was on the road all the time playing live music, heavy metal to be exact. So I started making beats in 2009 after the band I had been playing for, we kind of went separate ways. When I was in the band and we were recording, we would take these breaks and everybody would go out to smoke a cigarette or whatever, and I would stay there with the engineer and we would sit in there and just make beats for fun. And I remember like how addicting it was. Like every time we hit the studio, I was always like, I want to make beats. Like let's play with some beats. So I started searching for I Googled like beat making program or something. And I found like this program that you can make beats on the internet. And I made like this really shitty ass beat, or at least what I thought was shitty. You know, it was your first beat. I remember I showed a friend of mine and he bought it for like $20, and that's when I was like, oh shit, I could make money from this. That's where it kind of started for me. I made that first $20 sell on like my first beat, just kind of showing to a friend that, you know, dabbled around and played with rapping. Facebook wasn't really a thing. MySpace was still very popular. I got on MySpace and I started searching for like local rappers and shit. And I found these group of guys here in my hometown, and I just kind of hit them up and I was like, hey, I'm a new producer. Like, what do I gotta do to like get you guys some beats? Like, I was kind of willing to just kind of give them away at this point. Dude hit me back up. He's like, yeah, come through. So I burn all these beats to a CD. And I go over there and I show them beats. They ended up loving it. They bought the whole CD for like $50, I think. Had like 10 or 20 beats on it. After they bought my CD, one of the dudes was sitting there, my boy Poncho, Chopper Cho, and he was on this website called SoundClick. I was like, bro, what is this? He was like, this is SoundClick. And he's like, this is where you can sell and buy beats and stuff. I was like, damn. So that's when I made my first SoundClick account. So after I got on SoundClick, I started finding all these different producers like Superstar O, Johnny Giuliano, Chris Mecca, J-Rum, like all these big time SoundClick producers. And I just started focusing on what they were doing, how they would make their beats, how they were selling them, how they were marketing them, their image, their branding, all that shit. I was just trying to just follow in their footsteps. You know, I would see screenshots of them just making thousands of dollars off of beats, and I was like, I really want to be like this. So I continued working with local artists who were willing. I mean, I was selling exclusives for like $20. At the same time, I started really getting into the SoundClick game and the internet game. After I got into the internet game a little bit, and finally I got onto Facebook and I got into Instagram and stuff like that, that's where it really started to help out. I would literally spend most of my days just DMing rappers. I would go to different like promotional pages that a lot of rappers would follow, and I would just message a shit ton of random people all the time, and no one, like, I would have some people hit me back, but not as many as I wanted. And when the people did hit me back, a lot of the times I was just giving them free beats, or they would lease them for like 10 bucks, or I would sell the exclusive for like 20. I started meeting all these different rappers and collaborating with all these different producers, and it got to the point to where I was making a couple $100 a week. You know, it doesn't sound like much. $200, $300 a week on top of a day job was kind of nice. That's nice little play money. So I started investing that little $200 to $300 into equipment, or, you know, programs, VSTs, anything I saw. Like I said, I would follow people. So if I saw that they were buying this VST, I would buy it, or I would buy their drum kit or anything to kind of like sound like them. One of my first big clients I met, they were out of Canada, and I remember they reached out to me. They had saw some of my stuff on YouTube and Instagram, and they reached out to me and they were like, bro, why don't you start making beats for the gang? And I was like, all right, like, let's do it. And they were like some of my first big clients, where they were putting like furniture in my apartment and shit. Like, I mean, they weren't buying me furniture, but the amount of money they were spending, I was able to go out and buy me like a new couch and chair for my 1-bedroom apartment, and, you know, stuff like that. They were buying beats on a regular basis. So I put all my focus into them, and we started making all these projects. And that was where I got my first placement with D-Bo from Brick Squad Monopoly, Sean Paul from Youngbloods. After that was released, and I just had like this whole gang of rappers kind of hitting me up, and of course they were sending rappers to me and stuff like that. But I still wasn't really, I was making good money, but I wasn't making enough to kind of like quit my job. So of course I still tried to focus on this internet side of things, paying for SoundClick ads and stuff like that, just networking constantly. I mean, I was like spamming links to people on Instagram 24/7. Eventually it got to the point to where on my days off from work, I was making more money at home being on my computer than I was going to work. So after I started making a little bit of money, and I started realizing, shit, if I just sit at home and make beats all day, I got all this time, like I can do this. So I quit my job, and it was the scariest thing I had ever done. I regretted it so much. I was terrified. Like I didn't live at home with my parents when I quit my job. Like I had bills to pay and shit. But I am gonna say this, when I did quit my job, it put so much fear into me that I had no choice but to make it happen. Having that fear of not having a paycheck is the whole reason I am where I'm at today, and I still keep that fear in me. I wake up every morning and I literally tell myself, it's like, you know, I'm not guaranteed a paycheck. I can't punch a clock and get a paycheck. You know, my paycheck is determined by how much work I put in. I'm not telling you to go quit your job. Before I quit my job, I was able to kind of like pay this bill or pay that bill. I was setting myself goals like, okay, this month I want to be able to pay my cell phone bill. Next month I want to be able to pay cell phone and water bill, or cell phone, water, and electric, until I was able to pay all my bills. I had no extra play money whatsoever, but I was able to pay my bills, get some groceries, and that was it. But that fear of not having that paycheck is what really propelled me to make a lot more money. I kind of had no choice. Like by this point, I had my pride set in. I was like, man, you know, my parents have always supported me, but when I quit, my dad was like, what the hell are you doing? Like, you know, so I was like, I can't let dad down. Like, I gotta make this happen. Still promoting heavy on Instagram and Facebook, and just networking constantly. Like I would wake up, before I even made a beat, I would spend hours just like searching hashtags and looking for different artists, and going through other producers' friends list and who they were following and who was following them. Eventually I started getting on like Instagram pages like Coast to Coast, and all these different promotional pages, and just adding a bunch of random rappers here and there. And you know, I wasn't paying for Facebook ads, I wasn't doing none of that. It was just, I was doing all the legwork manually. And that's where I started meeting all these big clients, and these people who actually invest in their craft. They became long-term clients. I never searched for a short-term client. I wasn't looking for that one lease. I'm looking for somebody who wanted to kind of build together, and somebody that took it as serious as I did. One little tip I'll give you is, when I did find somebody I wanted to work with, if they were kind of a bigger rapper, I would go on their Instagram and I would find the link to their music, and I would find that music video that they liked the most, you know, the one that they were pushing all the time, and I would recreate a beat that was similar to it, had that same vibe and energy, and I would just message them and be like, bro, like, really fuck with your music, of course. I've been following them, I've been interacting with their posts, and I would send them, I'd be like, I got this beat I think you would like. I would send it to them, and that would start the negotiation process if they liked it or not. I really credit social media to my success. It definitely wasn't easy, and it still isn't. I still have a long way to go. I'm nowhere near where I want to be. It is possible. The house that I'm in now was for music. The cars that I drive, I mean, they're not no foreign whips or nothing like that, but you know, I'm able to pay the bills and provide for my family, and that's the goal. That's always been my goal. I never really wanted to be rich and successful. Don't get me wrong, it's nice, but at the end of the day, I've always just wanted to do this full time and be able to provide for me and my family